live in a world where we feel like we can fix everything. We don't like our car, let's buy a new one. We don't like our girlfriend, let's, find a new girlfriend, let's go online. And we often treat our thoughts and emotions in the same way. We treat our thoughts and emotions as if, I didn't like that. I don't like being unhappy, therefore let me just pretend to be happy. I don't like this negative thought, let me just pretend to be positive. And actually what that does is it sets up an internal struggle within ourselves where we're expending so much energy about whether we should or shouldn't be or feel or think a particular thing, that energy actually takes cognitive resource. It impacts on our problem solving. People who do a lot of thinking about whether they should or shouldn't think a particular thing or feel a particular thing, the research shows that those individuals actually have poorer problem solving. They have poorer relationships, and over the longer term, they are less likely to demonstrate resilience and well-being. So the first part of emotional agility is to what I call end the struggle by dropping the rope. And really what I mean by ending the struggle by dropping the rope is to stop any sense of internal struggle with whether you should or shouldn't think or feel a particular thing. Your thought is your thought. Your emotion is your emotion. Your story is your story. You can breathe into that. You can be compassionate with that. You can be okay with that. But that's not the same as resigning yourself to the thought emotional story or letting the thought emotional story drive your action. The second step in emotional agility is the idea of being able to create the space. So the space that Viktor Frankl spoke of when he said, between stimulus and response, there is a space. And in that space lies our power to choose. So how do we create that space? When we're hooked, when we're upset, when we're being reactive, when we feel like our managers treated us badly, when we feel like we are going to make a fool of ourselves, when we are driven by thoughts, emotions, and stories that are unhelpful, often what we're doing is we're seeing the world from the perspective of the thought emotional story. It feels like a fact. For example, I would love to apply for that job, but I'm just not cut out for it. Or someone better than me will get it. And that thought emotion story is actually okay to have. It's normal. It's your brain doing its job, which is trying to protect you and to do what it's been doing for millions and millions and millions of years, which is to evaluate, criticize, and look out for you in the world. But what we need to do is we need to start recognizing when that thought emotional story is actually stopping us from doing what's of value. So the second part of emotional agility is what I call stepping out. And the idea with stepping out is not that you're trying to ignore the thought emotional story, but rather you're trying to put it in its rightful place where it's not driving your actions. And there are a few ways that we do this. For example, if you're sitting in a meeting where you feel like you're being undermined and I may as well just shut down, I'm just not going to share anymore in the meeting. A very quick, simple, and it sounds almost simplistic, but it's a very powerful strategy, is to simply notice your thought as a thought. I'm noticing that I'm having the thought that I should shut down. What you're doing then is you are starting to create a space where you are recognizing that your thought is in fact what it is, which is a thought.